Dragon Age the Veilguard. After a long time away, BioWare returns with Dragon Age the Veilguard, a colorful and genuinely epic action RPG that more than lives up to the legacy of its predecessors. You play Rook, a character that you'll get to customize and design. Picking a class that'll determine your playstyle combat has been completely overhauled and decidedly modernized, peppered with pitch-perfect parrying, flashy abilities, and explosive team-up moves, whether you're a newcomer to the series or if you've been playing since the very beginning. Dragon Age the Veilguard's story has plenty to offer as you and your crew attempt to thwart the evil plans of Souls the Dreadwolf. Along the way, you'll meet new friends, make difficult choices, and maybe even fall in love. Available on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series XS, XBO, and PC. The Quarry. From the masters of interactive horror supermassive games comes The Quarry, a visually stunning and rip-roaring roller coaster of a game that features some of the best motion capture acting in the E. Business. David Arquette, Ariel Winter, and Justice Smith deliver excellent performances as wayward teens trapped in a nightmarish situation where murderous creatures and dating troubles combine. Thanks to a wide suite of modes, you can play The Quarry alongside friends, passing the controller or voting on key decisions. There's a great story to enjoy that pulls from the likes of Scream, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Evil Dead to create a familiar but frightening mix. You'll want to try this one out on the Xbox Series X, as the lighting effects and facial animation really are spectacular. Available on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series XS, XBO, and PC. Star Wars Jedi Survivor manages to deliver on its promise of expanding the world of Cal Kestis beyond the events of Fallen Order. At the beginning of Survivor, we find the team somewhat scattered as Cal sets off on a mission to rekindle the Jedi Order and save other Force-sensitive individuals along the way. You'll meet some familiar faces and some wonderful new ones, hopping from planet to planet while evading the Empire. What Star Wars Jedi Survivor excels at is telling a much larger story when compared to its predecessor. There's more characters, way more twists and turns, and some great reveals that tie into the wider Star Wars universe. Pair this with excellent lightsaber combat and even a semi-open world planet, and you've got a very good time indeed. Available on PS5, Xbox Series XS, and PC. God of War Ragnarok takes what made its predecessor so epic and dials it up to 11. The combat has been refined, adding in shield-focused abilities and skills. And traversal has been improved thanks to a bunch of genuinely fun new tools. Kratos and Atreus face down Odin himself in this gargantuan sequel, and must recruit the help of some uneasy allies to get the job done. There's a great ensemble cast in God of War Ragnarok that helps elevate the story above others in the genre. There's a talking squirrel, more fun from everyone's dismembered head, and plenty of father-son anguish from Kratos and Atreus. The story wraps up Kratos' Norse story rather well, while leaving things open for more adventures later down the line. If you enjoyed the first game, this one is an absolute must-play. If you didn't play it, then what are you waiting for? Available on PS5 and PC. Baldurs Gate 3 offers phenomenal storytelling, more than earning a place on this Best Story Games roundup. Contrary to CRPGs of the past, Baldurs Gate 3 provides a cinematic experience. Every cutscene is expertly voice-acted, with motion capture assisting the voice actors in bringing the game's cast to life. The game also features a narrator whose lavish descriptions are as captivating as they are immersive. Larian Studios' hit RPG presents you with a multitude of branching paths, all of which feel just as rewarding and legitimate as the others. This allows you to craft a tale that's entirely your own, offering you a fantasy playground that somehow retains a strong sense of narrative coherency throughout. Whether you're a goody two-shoes paladin or a tyrannical sorcerer, you can play the game your way. No mean feat for a title of this scale. Available on PS5, Xbox Series XS, and PC. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth stands as the second installment in the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy, while its predecessor is a gorgeous reimagining of the first act of the 1997 classic. Rebirth goes a step further. This confident, fantastical RPG is jam-packed with meaningful storytelling, unforgettable characters, and plenty of engaging, though never overwhelming side content. The story follows Cloud Strife, a traumatized mercenary who, along with his colorful band of allies, is pursuing a quest to stop the nefarious Sephiroth from ending all life on the planet. Rebirth plays fast and loose with big themes and important ideas, giving its tale a sort of mythological quality. The RPG's dramatic, bombastic, and confident cutscenes are punctuated by a fantastic combat system which, though nominally in real time, allows you to pause and make decisions. Rebirth tells an unforgettable tale addressing themes of friendship, loyalty, tyranny, love, and identity. It's dense, but if you're looking for a tale that holds nothing back, then this could be the best story game for you. Available on PS5. The Last of Us Part 1 is, at the time of writing, the definitive way to experience the tense action sequences and melancholy storytelling that immortalized its original predecessor. Besides graphical improvements and the occasional mechanical tweak, the game remains much as it always has been, providing a gripping post-apocalyptic tale wrapped up in third-person action. Perhaps more than any other title on this list, The Last of Us Part 1 offers impeccable pacing, which is reinforced by game mechanics. Frantic combat set pieces are broken up by slow, pensive moments of scavenging, both of which are, in turn, Punctuated by cutscenes that masterfully build dramatic tension, Naughty Dog's tale shows us that the most important thing about the end of the world isn't the disaster itself, but the people living with it, available on PS5 PC. In Stars in Time, with roots in classic turn-based RPGs of yore and modern indie triumphs like Undertale, In Stars in Time takes a bold approach towards storytelling which breaks the mold established by many of the best story games on this list in a manner reminiscent of Deathloop. Protagonist Sifrin finds himself trapped in a time loop as they fight to defeat the apocalyptic schemes of the Sinister King. The writing sparkles and delights, gradually raising the game's emotional stakes until you find yourself fully invested in its characters as you loop around again and again. You'll begin to share Sifrin's frustration with their situation, while on paper tasks might become repetitive. The very act of repetition pulls you deeper into the story, making for a narrative that captivates and challenges all at once. Available on PS5, PS4, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Allan Wake 2 scared and thrilled us in equal measure, setting a new bar for modern survival horror titles. Its compelling storyline is full of twists and turns, more than doing justice to the Stephen King novels that inspired it from Remedy Entertainment. The third-person horror title embroils you in increasingly unsettling supernatural events, blurring conventional narrative boundaries with all sorts of twists and tricks. Though its predecessor is an excellent psychological horror game, it isn't necessary to play the first game to understand the second. As the more recent title is built with newer players in mind, the story follows the twin perspectives of FBI agent Saga Anderson and Allan Wake himself as they try to survive the supernatural threats that beset them. The grim tale burrows into your brain, luring you in with tantalizing and shocking mysteries until you're completely immersed in the morbidly fascinating game. World staff writer Ellie Gould called Allan Wake 2 beautifully terrifying in their review for TRG. I also couldn't ever put it down, despite its scares giving me the shakes. Available on PS5, Xbox Series XS, PC. Deus Ex released in the year 2000. Many of the entries on this best story games list owe a great deal to the innovations made in the original Deus Ex, developed by Ion Storm. This sci-fi RPG has you take on the role of J.C. Denton, an agent of the United Nations Anti-Terrorist Coalition, like its spiritual successors Deus Ex Human Revolution and Deus Ex Mankind Divided. The title addresses themes of transhumanism by having its protagonist augmented with superpower-granting nanomachines, as well as offering a well-paced main storyline. Deus Ex allows the player to tell their own story by completing objectives their own way. Stealth, conversation, and brute force are all tools in your arsenal to be used whenever and however you see fit. Even the ending, which we won't spoil, offers tremendous scope for player choice, forcing you to put your moral code on the line as you determine the fate of the world. Available on PC, Mac OS. Cyberpunk 2077. Thanks to the much celebrated patch 2.0 update, Cyberpunk 2077 has come into its own, ensuring that bugs and clunky mechanics no longer get in the way of storytelling by doing away with both. It may be over 3 years since sci-fi RPG's launch, but CD Projekt Red's dark cyberpunk tale now stands on its own feet, earning a well-deserved place on our list of the best story games with memorable characters and more than a few shocking twists. Cyberpunk 2077 offers a relatively linear story, but still squeezes in ample opportunities to confront you with difficult moral choices that roll on to affect the narrative. Despite this linearity, the story is powerful and confronts important themes both personal and political. Available on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, and PC. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 picks up with Miles Morales, and Peter Parker as they swing from building to building to stop a gargantuan threat against the city from the get-go. The sheer scale of the game impresses and continues to wow right up until the credits. It's arguably the best story you can play on PS5, one that ties together threads from the previous 2 games while promising big things to come. The main story of Marvel's Spider-Man 2 focuses on Peter Parker, who, after an encounter with the Venom symbiote, gains new abilities and a heightened sense of power. This is, of course, a familiar Spider-Man tale, but there's some clever twists and turns along the way here to keep things fresh and interesting, namely in the involvement of Harry Osborn. And of course, a second Spider-Man and Miles Morales story in particular is a heartfelt one about how revenge always comes at a cost, with excellent performances all around. Sony exclusives are known for their larger-than-life stories, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is no exception. Thrilling villains, huge set pieces, and Easter eggs galore make this one absolutely essential if you have a PS5. Red Dead Redemption 2, the best story game of its kind. Red Dead Redemption 2 is an immersive, narrative-driven third-person action game that presents a detailed and complex portrait of a gang of outlaws as they roam what remains of the Wild West. Always hoping to stay one step ahead of the law, there is a deep romance to the title, which simultaneously lionizes the rugged individualism of the cowboy lifestyle while, in the same breath, challenging the notion that such a way of life could ever have existed. Though Red Dead Redemption 2 doesn't tell a particularly original story, the way it spins its yarn of choice is absolutely breathtaking, commanding the player's full attention with well-paced narrative beats and surprising plot twists to keep you on your toes as you play. You will find that the gang's triumphs and failures begin to feel like your own. A testament to the warmth and empathy that runs through the game's heart, available on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, and PC. Mass Effect 2, the crowning jewel of the Mass Effect saga, Mass Effect 2 brings some much-needed sci-fi drama to our best story games list, though all 3 entries in the core saga are fantastic titles in their own right. Mass Effect 2 stands apart, offering both the best standalone experience and the strongest story arc of the 3. As you progress through the tale, you'll need to make difficult choices, weighing up challenging moral dilemmas throughout BioWare's epic space opera in this third-person RPG. Commander Shepard has to save the galaxy from an ancient threat no longer backed by the galactic government. They have turned to a dubious terrorist organization for funding and support throughout the game. You'll be gearing up for the suicide mission, a daring assault on the enemy's base of operations where the main characters, including your protagonist, can perish. To this end, you'll need to assemble a crew, upgrade your ship, and prepare for the fight of a lifetime. In the process, your Shepard will forge new relationships, tackle new hardships, and possibly even fall in love. Available on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, and PC.